Now 250,000. Now, but to get 275. High, but to get 275. 3. Now 300,000. Now 3 1/4. 325. High, but to get 3 1/4. But to get 325. Now half. Now, but to get 300.
And good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the Mike McGavel Jones Show from Dallas, Texas. We're broadcasting live from Lincoln Center and at the studios here, and glad to have you. We have several things we want to talk about. Of course, it's election season right now, and Zach, I know you're very aware of the politics looming.
Oh yes.
As we wrap up early voting is going on right now in Texas. They're going to wrap that up tomorrow, and I did go vote yesterday.
Oh, all right.
And I got that knocked out. Let me tell you, the best time to vote in Texas is when it's raining.
Is it really?
Yes, because there were 40 cars in the parking lot, and I walked in, and I went directly to the voting booth.
Oh, that's the way to go. Did you go to a school or a library?
I went to a library.
Yeah, library for me.
Yeah, we have a really nice library off of Beltline and Hillcrest, and that's where I vote. And but I'm amazed at how many signs they will allow people to put out for an election.
Oh, it's really something. You'd think PETA, the EPA, or somebody would be all over it, but no, they load them out.
PETA?
Oh, somebody. They always got something to say, Mike. Who am I to say?
I understand.
Yeah.
The plastic consumers of America are revolting right now. But no, it's an interesting time in America. It's going to be an interesting. Probably, they're telling me that in most voting precincts that we've already exceeded the vote from the last presidential election.
Stunning. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, been following that through Facebook and through all the social media, and then of course if you watch the talking heads, that's always a daunting thing. I literally have gotten to where I can't hardly watch television because of the commercials. They're just wearing me out.
Yeah, it'll bring. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah,
it's crazy. Well, anyway, so it's time for the vote, and that's all going to happen very shortly. And so,
I know you've been voting for a while, but I'm curious. You still get that good feeling when you walk out of a voting booth? I know I do. Just feels good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like I did my civic duty.
Yeah.
I did a post on my Facebook page today about your responsibility as a citizen of the United States, and I firmly believe that I have a real problem with people who won't even take the time to go vote.
Oh yeah.
You live in this country. You have people that are fighting to give you the right to live in a free country, and then the least you can do is go vote, for goodness sakes.
I look at my paycheck at the end of the month. I don't think, man, those taxes makes me feel good. But voting, that's one I'm like, I feel good about that. Yeah, it's good something.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And I've voted for a long time too.
Oh, yeah.
So I
believe it.
I've seen all sides, and I think I may have mentioned this on a previous show. Even though you tend to lean more towards one than the other party, I still consider myself an independent.
Sure.
And I have voted independent before, and so I'm not afraid to step out, knowing that I may not win, but I voted my conscience.
Oh, so. That's the way to do it, right? Yeah, you're not just doing party lines. You vote how you feel.
Yeah. So anyway. That's enough of that. We've got a couple of things. Now I've vented that. See, I feel good, just like when I left the voting booth. Yeah.
Walked out of that booth thinking, I can't wait to talk about this on the next podcast.
I think the other thing that I noticed, and I'm not knocking anybody.
No.
I love everybody.
Sure.
But I find it amazing the people that are like taking care of the voting operation.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the age.
Oh yeah.
The age group. I mean, the only thing I was lacking yesterday was like 6 wheelchairs, and I know that's wrong.
No, is it wrong, Mike? I mean, it's an older audience. Yeah, they're.
Well, I mean, it was a house full of canes. Let's just say that.
Hey, I appreciate what they're doing. I hope when I'm that age, I feel the same way. That I want to volunteer and give my time.
I'm not that far. I'm not that far.
No, not with that attitude.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right. So we've taken care of the election. I want to talk about last Saturday in Duchesne, Utah. I had Mark Woodling on, our vice president, who kind of chaperoned this deal. This was a project that he managed for United Strategic Client Services, the company that we represent here in Dallas, which is, of course, a division of United Country Real Estate and United Real Estate, which we have offices here in Lincoln Center. And our headquarters for United Real Estate is in this building. But want to talk about that project because it was naturally when you take on a major project, you really think about all the ramifications of a good project or if something goes horribly wrong. And so, our goal and intent whenever we take on a project is to make sure that the property sells. And that is not to tell you that it's not perfect. It's not a silver bullet. But we did have a sale, which we mentioned previously, and it was in Duchesne, Utah. It was 120 properties that went up for auction. They all belonged to one individual lady.
Wow.
Whose husband had passed away a few years back. They actually started buying this property and developing it 20 years ago. But they also own 3 or 4 hotels in downtown Duchesne, pretty much all of them except for one, every hotel room in the town.
Oh, man.
And then they owned a corner building, which had been the museum for the city. And then we also sold some highway frontage on the main highway through the town. We had 2 of the 4 corners of the only major street light in the town. So it basically had a buffer. And then a retail property as well as office space. So we literally had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you're selling a slice of Utah at that point. I mean, gosh.
Well, one of the things that it was kind of appealing to us too was knowing that we were putting all these properties back on the market where people could take them, use them, develop them, actually build new businesses and bring new income into Duchesne. And the people of Duchesne also wanted to see this happen.
Oh, yeah.
So there were 80 properties in a subdivision that they built. There was also multiple cabins and executive homes. So this was really a slice of Utah in a town that has a lot of traffic.
And this all came from one whole, one
lady.
That's tremendous.
She contacted us about a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It's a while. So she inquired and she said that she had been receiving the United Country real estate catalog for years, and she was from originally New Orleans. I think she had lived sometime in Tennessee and maybe Florida. I'm not sure about the Florida piece, but she did say, I said, how did you find us? And she said, because you guys have been sending me marketing materials for 15, 20 years. So that's good. That tells you that our catalog, which is, I know you don't know this, but the United Country real estate catalog was the very first real estate catalog ever created in the United States.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And to the point that the original copy, going back to the 20s, actually is in the Smithsonian Institute.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
True.
I'm going to have to get a look at that.
Well, I can actually bring you a reprint of that catalog because we actually reproduce them and use them kind of as a marketing tool.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing one of those.
Yeah, you'll like it. Anyway, so that's how she found us. But then what happens, and this happens almost all the time, I will just tell you. People, they want to sell their property, but they're attached to it.
Oh,
and
sure.
So they've got this great love for their real estate. They think about the day they bought it, and they think about the number of hours that they spent developing it, getting the water connected to it, getting the sewer connected to it, going through all the planning and zoning. And really, it's a daunting thing. When you talk about 120 properties, so there's enough anxiety with a person with one property, but if you can imagine 120 properties.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that. I was thinking, in auction, there's always some emotion tied to what people are selling, right? They wouldn't be auctioning it if it wasn't. When you're selling this much, I mean, it's got to be.
Well, and not just auction.
Yeah.
I mean,
I suppose
there's a separation anxiety that comes from selling any property, whether it's through traditional means, which has been the main thing the company did for probably 80, 90 years before I came along 10 or 12 years ago. So
sure. And this is 120 properties. That's something.
Well, I want you to think about this too. So for anyone who's ever bought a home or ever bought a piece of property from anyone, you know what the process is. You've got a contract involved, you've got a deposit involved, and when you close on that property, you realize how much paperwork goes with a closing a real estate transaction. It's kind of like buying a car. You sign 20 times, and I guarantee you 99% of the people don't read the contract.
Oh, no.
Because it's legalese.
Sure.
And they just think, well, it's no big deal.
It's a mile long. Everybody does this.
Sign here, sign here. So, but now you take that process and multiply it 120 times. Think how long it takes the title company. Of course, we do go to the title company. We were with First American on this one, this particular deal. So we had a nice team out there in Utah, but they took on 120 title policies. So they went ahead and we always want to make sure that property is going to have clear title. We don't want to offer it if it has clouds.
Sure.
And so that's the first part. Once we agree to take on a project, is we want to start getting that title work started so that we can present that we do have clear title.
Right.
And so that was great. Anyway, so we took the project on. We gave the seller a proposal, a presentation on what we would do, what we would charge, what the timeline was going to be, that it was going to take probably 60 to 90 days before we go to auction in this particular case. So once that is agreed to, then we, of course, have to get the signatures and get it all signed off on and get it all bundled up. And then we start the marketing process, because when we do the presentation, we include the marketing proposal, which comes through EMS, which is Enhanced Marketing Services, which is our internal marketing company. And so we have them put together a marketing proposal, and it's a line item proposal that tells you how that money is going to be spent, that you're going to pay us. And because that is a part of the deal, we don't upfront the advertising money. This is the investment that the seller makes.
Right.
Is going to be the marketing funds, because you're investing in your property. You know, we're counting on the seller to have a commitment, and I think that's also the skin in the game. All sellers need to have skin in the game to be as dedicated to selling that property as we are.
I agree. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. You got to be committed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. And once the marketing hits, now we also have of course you're in the PR business, and we've worked with you guys a lot, and so we had a lot of PR that was done for us in Salt Lake City with the local market, because our local market is important to us. And so because of that reach, we were able to secure 2 television stations to come to Duchesne and do features on the property.
Oh, wow.
Now, in this particular case, there were more than 120 properties. Right. But we had a pre-sale opportunity for people to come in. If they wanted to buy something, it's kind of like buy it now.
Right.
Kind of like an eBay thing where you just like buy it now.
Uh-huh.
And so we did showings. If somebody just absolutely wanted to buy a particular piece of property, they had that opportunity to make the offer early. And then we could, take that one off the list. And even at that, we still had 120 properties left.
My gosh.
And we didn't sell that many properties ahead of time, because as you can imagine, a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to see what it brings.
Oh, right, of course, yeah. I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, but at the same time, we do have a group of buyers who they don't want to have the anxiety of having to compete.
Oh, yeah.
The fear of the unknown.
Well, you're gambling on a heartbreak at that point. Yeah, that's dangerous.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold a property in Oklahoma, so probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we had a party come in and use a third party. We didn't know who the buyer was, and they literally made an offer 4 days before the auction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we do that, we will allow for a preemptive offer, but if they make that offer, they have to send us a contract, and they also have to send us a deposit that is non-refundable. If we agree to their price, then they're going to have to put a percentage down. In that particular case, they had to put almost $500,000
Whoa.
down. And now if we accepted, then it's a locked in deal. And
sure.
So we're going to keep the money if they fail to close. At the same time, they got the property at their price. And so, and that's the way that went. Actually, it was probably $600,000 they had to put down.
Oh, wow. Certainly not all auctions have that option, though, to buy in advance, right? Or is that a thing that's on the table for every auction you guys do?
Well, we have a fiduciary responsibility to our seller.
Yes.
So if somebody comes to us, and it's a reasonably priced piece of property, and when I say reasonably priced, I'm talking about especially on the higher end stuff. If it's a $100,000 property, we're probably not going to be too concerned about that. But when you get into $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million property, somebody comes to you and says, hey, Mr. Auctioneer, broker, real estate professional, we'd like to make a $5 million offer. We feel an obligation to take that to our seller, and we also put that in all of our terms and conditions that that we reserve the right on behalf of the seller to present any preemptive offers. So if they are presented, and that's fair to everybody because anybody could make those offers.
Sure.
So
yeah,
and you know what? Sometimes they take them, sometimes they don't, and but we don't get into this countering thing. It's like because then we basically started the auction. I'm not here to counter back and forth. Give us your best and highest offer, and if the seller wants to take it, so be it. But at that point, once they send us the money, then we have to announce that the sale has been canceled due to a preemptive purchase. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So anyway, so we take this thing to auction over the weekend. And we had done multiple showings. We probably had 3 or 4 different showings where, we would give people previews of the property. And when you're talking about 2,000 or 3,000 acres that has been broken up into development lots, there's a lot of riding around, a lot of showing cabins and things of that nature. So, but look, Utah is Utah. It's kind of like going to, Arizona. You want to go out and look at, what is the word for it?
Oh gosh, I'm not. The desert. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
That's the word.
That's it. Yeah. Excuse me.
I kept waiting for you to come through a little quicker.
Apologies.
Yeah, that's okay. No, but you know what? Where this property was sitting, especially the 80 acres or the 80 lots, they overlooked a beautiful valley.
Sure.
And so it was it's really pretty. Now I don't know if it's for me. But there are a lot of people that retire and move down to Utah and Arizona and New Mexico, and they just love it. And the temperatures are interesting because it sits in a valley. It's very cool. It's cool at night, and of course it can reach some temperatures during the day. But
no, I'm looking at these photos you got out here on this flyer. Yeah, very, very varied. It's not just desert out there. Yeah, you got some trees. You got a river or two. Like it's looking sharp.
And a lot of lakes. They have a lot of lakes, but water's a problem. Water availability to building lots can be a challenge.
Sure.
And one of the reasons that these properties were worth what they were is because they had water.
Oh wow.
To the whole thing. It was accessible. So it wasn't like you were buying a lot and you had to figure out where you were going to get your water or try to do a well or whatever.
No, they're steel in the walls. Those are good places. Infrastructure.
Oh my gosh. And a lot of rock. So just to give you a little overview before I go to my next subject.
Yes.
We had over 14,000 website views.
My gosh.
That watched it. We had the 2 TV stations from Salt Lake come out, and that went viral, so that helped us a lot.
Yeah.
We had literally 500 inquiries as far as wanting to look at disclosures and information about the property. We had upwards of 100 people registered for the auction, and but at the end of the day, the most important part of this is we reached 25% higher revenue or gross sales than what our seller was hoping for.
Oh, my gosh.
So anytime that you can do that, you've had a good day. And so we were extremely happy. The seller actually, right before the auction, came up, and she's a devout Catholic. And she came up and with the auction team all together, we did a group prayer.
Oh, wow.
Hand in hand. And she slipped a prayer card into my jacket.
Oh, wow.
And she said, take this with you and, good luck. And so, hey, I don't take anything for granted.
No.
I think anytime you can get 25% higher than what the seller is expecting, you've done something great.
Yeah, I imagine there's, like you said, an emotional kind of responsibility with these things. There may be a couple tears when they put it up for auction, but they got to be walking away with a smile at the end with numbers like that.
Yeah. And so she has another home outside of the United States, and then she also is from New Orleans. So between New Orleans and probably down around Costa Rica or Mexico, I know she has a place in Mexico off the coast. So
oh man,
she's got a good life ahead of her.
She'll get by. Yeah, that's not silly.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine. She'll be thinking about it, drinking her pina coladas or whatever. Yeah. So I want to kind of point out that this is a situation where this was an individual investor. It could have been a group investment. It could be a partnership. It could be a corporate group. It could be a corporation. there are a lot of money managers out there that are representing investors and groups that we would like for them to pay attention to what we're doing. So if they have an investor or someone that has a lot of properties in their portfolio, keep us in mind. Keep in mind United SCS Strategic Client Services, which I am the broker. Just give me a call, 214-906-5265, 214-906-5265, or you can send me an email at mike@united-scs.com. And you can send me any emails or phone calls that come to me are confidential. We're not going to be talking about it to anybody else. We understand how business works, and confidentiality is very important, not only to you but to us. So if you have some properties, it could be one property, it could be 200 properties. We'll be happy to talk to you. Because the process really, Zach, is we have to qualify the property. Mm-hmm. You know, just because you want to sell it at auction does not mean that we're going to even take it, because I would say 9 out of 10 properties that I look at or that we look at, we turn down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they simply don't. They do not fit an auction process, and there's certain qualifiers. It could be the sense of urgency. You know, what is your sense of urgency? Well, in this particular case, she didn't want to sit around listing properties for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, time is money. That's not worth it.
Well, the other piece of that too now is the election's coming up. Depending on the election, that could have a determination on which way the economy goes.
Oh, gosh.
We could have, and heaven forbid, another 9/11 situation. You were quite young when 9/11 hit, but I can tell you that I had 2 or 3 auctions scheduled the week of 9/11.
Oh, wow.
And we had to postpone those auctions. Well, the banking system was upside down. Travel was upside down. You know, the airports were closed. This can happen at any time in the United States. If we have another situation where a terrorist group should hit the United States, which it will happen. I mean, it just will.
Sure.
You know,
God forbid.
We've had too many of them. You know, whether it was Oklahoma City or New York City or Boston, wherever these things can happen, they will happen, because we just live in the temperament in the world today is so just bizarre.
It's a wild time.
Well, it's the Wild West, only it's 2018
with the internet.
and the internet is not necessarily helping the situation. So anyway, I just wanted to put that appeal out there. If you have some properties, whether you are here in Dallas, whether you're in North Dallas, you know, I'm literally across from the Galleria, 10 minutes from downtown. But if it's Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, or anywhere else in the United States, now I will tell you that you'll love this. So while I was in Utah, I'm leaving the hotel that I'm staying in, and the proprietor says, "Do you have a moment?" And I was leaving for Salt Lake City, and I said, "Sure, we've got a few minutes." And so he proceeded to lay out 3 or 4 properties that he has in Tennessee.
Oh,
that are hotels and related type businesses that he wants to liquidate. He wants to sell. He said, "I just want to turn these." He said, "I'm not overpriced. I'm willing to sell them at a decent price. I'm not looking to too much upside." He said, "I just want to get my money back based on what it's the EBITDA, the profit that's bringing in right now.
Yeah,
I'd like to sell these for. I enjoyed your auction. I thought you did a great job. I think that's the way I want to go." And so that's the next thing I have to do is go look at his 4 properties and determine whether they are good candidates for auction. And then while I'm doing that, yesterday or day before, I got a phone call from one of our United Country offices in North Carolina, who's got 400 acres in Tennessee that is a lead on a lake. And so now I've got 5 properties in Tennessee to look at, probably next week. And as you know, I was at St. Jude Children's Hospital for 2 days this week. So I spent basically Tuesday and Wednesday at St. Jude because we have our annual trek from the National Auctioneers Association. We take our international champions up there and let them conduct an auction with the children of St. Jude. So our people go in. We pay. We normally spend $4,000 or $5,000 on toys at Target, and then we'll set an auction up. In this particular situation, if you've ever been to St. Jude, you know where the domed building is. When you drive into St. Jude, there's a domed building there, and just right around the corner is where Danny Thomas is buried. They have their family plot before you ever go into the hospital. And so that's where we conducted the auction. We had 2 or 3 TV stations there that covered the auction. Our current 2018 international champions, Barrett Bray, who graduated the America's Auction Academy, past tense, Texas Auction Academy. Barrett's a 2009 graduate of our school, so he was representing us well. And then Emily from, I think she's up north. I'm not sure exactly what state she's in. North Dakota, South Dakota, I don't know. Minnesota, I don't know.
Somewhere up there.
Wyoming. It's one of those states. You know, one of those states up there where I go.
Sure.
Anyway, so, and Emily's great because she's been on some of these America's Got Talent and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
Super talented girl.
Yeah.
I've known for a long time, since she was a little girl.
We should get her on the show. Yeah.
Well, when she comes through, we definitely will.
Yeah.
So Emily and Barrett did a great job. But while we were there, they unveiled in the research tower where they actually do the real research for cancer for the children. They unveiled our new conference center, and the conference center overlooks the world's flags. And so these are funds that we provided to St. Jude, and they dedicated a conference, a very nice conference room. And this particular conference room is where the research doctors and the specialists actually sit down, go over their findings, and then figure out, how are they going to roll this out? How are they going to introduce this research to other hospitals around the world and to other doctors? So it's really cool to know that you had a small piece in helping the hospital do something great. So.
Yeah, I wanted to speak towards that for a second, if I may. I know it's not something exactly you want to get on for this show, but as somebody who's, it's kind of a normal Joe, I should say. I'm the kind of person that the most donating I do is at the end of a purchase somewhere where they say, hey, do you want to round off the dollar and donate 79 cents to St. Jude's or something? Sure. You guys are doing tremendous work out there. I saw that big check you guys had. Like, it's really neat. So thanks for going out there and doing what you do. Like, it's, yeah.
Well, the cool thing for me personally, and this is really not about me, but 20 years ago when I won the international competition, I was Barrett Bray. I was the young guy that goes to St. Jude to do the auction. And so I was there with Pam Rose, who was my counterpart as the female champion, and she's from Ohio. And then we also had Rob Doyle, who's a dear friend up in New York. He was the president of the National Auctioneer Association at the time. So over the past the past 20 years, I've been blessed to know people like Joe Hager. Mr. Hager was Mayor Pro Tem of Dallas. He kind of took me under his wing and showed me a lot about St. Jude and really pushed me to support St. Jude. And so we did a presentation check for $300,000. That's our cumulative gift to St. Jude over the last 15 years or so. And and it just keeps driving us to do more for the hospital. And I'll tell you, and I mentioned this on the elevator at St. Jude the other day, that I'm really thinking about possibly rolling out a major fundraising event here in Dallas where we can invite the public, and it not just be our students, but it would actually involve the public. And we've got a lot of friends in Dallas, Fort Worth, and North Texas, I know, that would be willing to come and participate, and I'm sure I could get the Texas Auctioneers Association to consider helping out too, and our friends there. So I don't know. I'd love to. We just did the $300,000 check, but how cool would it be to say raise $150,000, $200,000 in a night?
Yeah, we should talk offline about that. I think I might want to be a part of that. That sounds really neat.
That's exciting. Just the possibilities.
Sure.
And we can do it because we can do anything we put our mind to. All right, so my next subject. So the end of the show today, we're going to talk about a property that was brought to me by a business brokerage firm. And this business brokerage firm doesn't necessarily specialize in real estate. They're used to selling businesses. But they come across a lot of things that really don't fit their model. Maybe it's real estate. Maybe it's rural real estate. Maybe it's a business that's out of the city.
Yeah.
So I flew up and looked at a property called Autumn Antlers. Autumn Antlers Trophy Whitetail Lodge is located outside of Brainerd, Minnesota. Now, this property is currently listed through our efforts with the business brokerage, but we're taking it to auction, and the auction, I believe, will end on December the 13th. But if you'd like to check this out, and we're still working on the advertising. The video has been done. I sent a crew up there last week, and so, or a week and a half ago. So they filmed last Monday, I guess, and the website for this, Zach, is going to be www.trophyWhitetailLodge.com. trophyWhitetailLodge.com. And so this is incredible. The place is incredible. This place was founded in 2006 by a group of outdoorsmen, the Autumn Antlers Trophy Whitetail Lodge and Preserve. They provide the ultimate hunting experience. It's a phenomenal property. It's over 400 acres. It's got a super lodge, one of the nicest lodges I've ever been in. I've been in some nice lodges over the years.
Well, I believe it.
It's a wood frame hunting lodge, but it's not like anything you've ever seen. It has all of the trophy mounts, but it's a commercial operation. 10,000 square foot, 4 queen bedrooms with private bath, 2 king suites with private baths.
Oh my gosh!
Fully stocked bar, lounge. It has stone fireplaces, commercial kitchen, large outdoor area, heating, cooling, HVAC, storage areas. It has herd management buildings. It has deer stands, hunting range, and more. I mean, this is a super opportunity for someone. But they've been specializing in hunting packages for people, discerning guests, I guess would be the way to say it.
Sure.
Without being specific to people who have been there, I will tell you that I've seen photos. These are trophy animals that you're just not going to find. It's going to have white-tailed deer, their trophy mount. They have elk, red stag, ram. It's just I would say a utopia for the best genetics of animals you're ever going to see. So for the discerning hunter, of course, Autumn Antlers has been, they have been exhibitors at Safari Club International in Las Vegas, and then also here in Dallas. Lots of folks know them, and it's just a wonderful. Also, there'll be over 600 animals that go with the property.
Oh, wow.
So there'll be a video at this website, and it'll probably go up in about a week. But if you know anyone that has interest in hunting and that style of life, where you're out in the outdoors, you want to go to a superior place, there is a family that goes up there quite often. It's not unusual for them to spend upwards of $100,000 to $200,000 to hunt.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that take corporate groups up there, so it'll be like a team thing.
Sure.
And but if you like to hunt and you like to be in the outdoors and you want first class accommodations, this is the preeminent hunting lodge in Minnesota.
I was going to say Minnesota again. I want to make sure we got that.
Yeah, in fact, it's a 5-star lodge, and so world-class trophy whitetail herd, exclusive clientele. This is where the rich and the famous go to get away. They can go anywhere they want to in the world, and this is one of those top 2 or 3 destinations. So,
oh man!
And they get a lot of people out of Texas, and California. I'll put this place up against any place you've ever been. So keep in mind, Autumn Antlers Trophy Whitetail Lodge. The auction will end on December the 13th. The details will be available in the next week to 10 days. The video will be available as well. And but it has a commercial processing plant that's state approved, or government approved for that matter.
Wow.
It has all the breeding facilities. It has first-class equipment, the best of everything. These guys spare no expense. They spend what they have to spend to make sure it's the #1 hunting destination in Minnesota.
It really does sound like they've got it all out
Yeah.
there. That's wild.
And we'll be planning inspections of the property. So if someone has an interest, all they need to do is call me. Just call me, Mike Jones, 214-906-5265. And you can also go through email, Mike at united-scs.com. And, of course, you can always go to our SCS website to see our other auctions and other things that we're working on. We have lots of other things on our website. We have a gravel mining operation right now. We've got other ranches for sale, commercial properties, and sometimes it's an auction and sometimes it's a brokerage. But either way, you can go to united-scs.com. That is our website. So, Zach, I think that's going to do it for this week. I look forward to being with you again, and I want to remind everybody to get out and do the vote because that's going to be tomorrow. And so God bless everybody. God bless America, and thank you for being a part of the Mike McGavel Jones Show here in Dallas from Lincoln Center, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.